way. So that we call that drishtant, that is called udharan, or we can also say drishtanta. We can also say how we see something, drishtanta, something seen by us. So so in this I have given you earlier also, in the previous part also, that we can say that udharan can be of both kinds. The udharan can be uh, sadharmyat and viruddha dharmyat, vaidharmyat. So sadharmyat, we saw the pot having the same quality as the sound, and then the atma having opposite qualities. So sadharmat, vaidharmyat, both kind of udaharanam we can give, right? So this is how we prove something by giving first an example, and then finally the last two parts are just about conclusion. So this will just go into quickly. So 37th sutra, tat viparyat va vipritam. So heterogeneous or a opposite or a negative example that we have seen earlier, the example of atma being a negative example. So a heterogeneous or negative example is a familiar instance which is known to be devoid of the property to be established, and which implies that the absence of this property is invariably rejected in the reason given. So basically we have seen earlier also that this we can give a heterogeneous or an example of an opposite property, right? So in case of something having opposite property, the conclusion also will be opposite, right? So just like sound is non-eternal, then we are giving an example of something that is eternal. Then we have to say that yes, so sound is produced. Uh, that can be inferred from the fact that Atma is not produced. So that is the reverse one. So we'll quickly go to the next one also. Uh, Udaharan अपेक्षः तत् इति उपसंहारो न तथा इति वा साध्यस्य उपनय. So upnaya is basically that comparison that we are doing, and we are finally saying that we are applying it to the example. We are applying the example to the thing to be proved. We are applying that example to the thing that is being proved. So application is a winding up, or it is basically reaching towards a conclusion with reference to the example of what is to be established as being so or not so. So this application, when we do, we say that yes, because this ghata or this pot is of the nature of being produced, so it is non-eternal. So therefore, sound is also non-eternal. So that is the upnaya. Upnaya is comparison of the udharan with the actual thing that we are seeking to prove, and reaching towards a conclusion, right? Reaching towards a conclusion, and then finally is the conclusion itself. So that is in the 39th sutra. Hetvabdeshat pratigyaha punarvachanam nigmanam. So what is nigmanam? Reaching the final conclusion. Reaching the final conclusion. What is that? Hetu upadeshat pratigyayaha punarvachanam nigmanam. So basically, what is nigmanam? The conclusion is basically a restating of the proposition. We are just repeating the proposition. Then what is the difference between nigmanam and the proposition itself? The difference is that this is in the form of a conclusion, where the hetu, the reason, and the udaharanam have been added. So after the addition of these, it gives a force of proof to what we finally stated as a proposition, is it has been proved now. So like we say in any mathematical proposition also, first we give the theorem, and in the end we say hence proved. So hence proved is nigmanam, right? Hence proved is basically nigmanam. So through this process of nigmanam, we reach the final part of the argument. So interestingly, if you just look at these, if you look at the first one, so if you look at the first one, then what is the first one? That is the pratigya. So pratigya is basically of the five pramanams that we saw earlier. Shabda pramanam is related to pratigya. Shabda pramanam. In Shabda pramanam, what happens? Something that is said by a reliable person, that is accepted as a truth. So there also Shabda pramanam is coming in. So this Shabda pramanam, the uh, by which someone reliable is saying something, we trust that and we accept that, right? So in the highest case, it is that of a rishi, the rishi cognize truths of that are beyond the observational powers of common people. But because many rishis together, they come together and they give the same statements, their experience is the same, so we accept that statement, right? And we all of us can reach that state of experience. But when we are talking about common people, then any reliable person, so you have a friend, he tells you, please don't go into the jungle, there is a bear roaming around. So when you see that, when you hear that, you realize that okay, this person is someone I trust. So on his word, you will not go there. So that is Shabd Pramanam. So that Shabd Pramanam is related to the Pratigya part, first part, Pratigya, right? Then again, when we look at the second one, the Hetu, Hetu is cause. So Hetu is basically related to Anuman Pramanam, because in Anuman, what we are doing an estimation. So if for any estimation, we need a reasoning. So Pramanam is there. And similarly, then we can do the remaining three also. So that when we are looking at the Udaharanam, that Udaharanam is basically related related to the uh, uh, to the upaman, to the comparison one, right? So in this way, all the five parts of a proposition are related to the five means of knowing also. So a lot of people, especially in the Buddhist tradition and other traditions, they say that there is actually one pramanam, only one way of knowing, and so they use only anuman. The rest they include within anuman. But actually, if in Nyaya we don't agree with that. We say they have different applications at different level. So we use all the five different pramanas, different spheres of knowledge, different spheres of knowledge. Through pramanam, through the pratyaksh pramanam, we can know a lot of things. But through anuman pramanam, we can know more things. Through upaman pramanam, we can know some more things that are there. Two pramanams, pratyaksha and anuman. Yes, pratyaksha and anuman are two pramanams. Then you have shabda pramanam. Then you have Upaman Pramanam. Yes, you're saying Buddhism, they use Pratyaksha and Anuman. But yes, if you read further, then you will see that in some systems, they collate both. Because in Buddhism also, they have four schools of thought, right? So in fourth, they have Vaibhashik, Sautrantik, Yogachar, and then finally Shunyavad. So all of these have different kinds of proofs, different kinds of logical philosophy. Even Jainism, in Jainism, they have a very good and a very efficient tradition of logic, right? They have a very beautiful tradition of logic. So it does not depend, does not matter how you name them. Very good, George, for observing this. Thank you. So when we are looking at this thing, the pramanams, the different pramanams, we can give them different names, but we have to understand that their range of application is different. It is different for all of these. So we can choose to separate them, or we can choose to combine them. That is why actually there are there are actually some other pramanams also that have small differences from these existing five. So there are others also in some other systems, but those are actually not that you cannot distinguish the two very easily. The distinguishing feature is not there. So now we go into the next one, I think, because we have done this. So we have established the main part of an argument, the five parts of an argument. This is the major thrust of Nyaya Sutra. So now we are entering into one of the next few parts of. So Tarkaha. Tarkaha is very important part of the 16 elements that we saw in the beginning. So of the 16, if you just go into again, we saw the 16 categories. So Praman, Pramay, Sanshay, Prayojan, Drishtant, Siddhant, Avyava. So these seven we have done. Praman, Pramay, Sanshay, Prayojan, Drishtant, Siddhant, Avyava. Seven. Right. So Tark is the eighth. So out of the 16, this is the median category, the eighth one, the one right towards the middle. Tark and Nirnay. So Tarka is basically the method of logic itself. Tarka is basically logic. So it is the basis of the text that we are studying, right? So Tarka. So what is Tarka? What is this Tarka? what is the definition given here? अविज्ञात तत्व अर्थे कारण उपपत्ति तत्व ज्ञानार्थ moha tarka. So what is tarka? What is the base? What is basically logic? What is basically logic? How do we define logic? So here word given in this English translation is confutation. You can use this also. So avigyat tattva, something that is not known to us. Avigyat tattva. So we have to know that. So that avigyat tattva arthe karan upapatti. We have to seek a cause. We have to go to the level of causation. And कारण उपपत्ति ही तत्व ज्ञानार्थ muha tarka. So what is tarka? Basically, what is the logic? What is the system of logic? It is a means through which we establish the truth or untruth of any proposition, and we get the knowledge of something that is known, not known to us through normal means. So basically, we are excluding pratyaksha, something that is pratyaksha, something that directly the sense organs can cognize. But some of our systems go even beyond that. They question even pratyaksha. They question what we see. They question the reality of what we see. Is it real? So as we've seen, where have you seen that? Vedanta. In Vedanta, we see that we even question the reality of what we see. Right. So it is something that has penetrated into all modern systems also. It has gone down into quantum mechanics also, where quantum we whenever we the more we observe something, the more it disappears. When we look at an electron, we try to find it, we can't find it, we cannot locate it, we cannot put it down in any section of space, right? And so that is why the more we observe things, the more they disappear. Okay, so Zoom, we have completed today's time period, sorry, so we'll just reconnect. Just give me a moment. Manisha, you can join on Zoom, you restarted the class. Okay, so welcome, George. Okay, so now let us resume. Let us resume from where we left off. So if we are basically looking at the system of logic, and that part of it that is called tarka. Tarka, through reasoning, through reasoning, we establish those truths that are beyond the grasp of our direct observation, right? Or anything that we directly observe also, we try to examine what are we observing, how are we observing it, is there any reality to it, is it something that we think that is real but is actually not real, right? So a lot of things we observe in real life also. We see all the content that is created on computers. That thing we can, when we look it, when we get engrossed in it, it feels so real, even though we know it is not real, right? So similarly, we examine everything in the world also. So tarkaha is basically the system of logic. So there we keep on using it for in different ways to establish that the things that we are observing, what is the truth behind that, uska tatva kya hai, what is the reality behind that, to discover the reality behind that, that tarkaha is used. So we then move on to the next one. I'll just share it on screen. So next we are looking at the, of the 16 category, we have done the eighth one. This is the ninth one, nirnaya. So what is nirnaya? What is this sutra saying? So we are moving to the almost the end of the first chapter. First chapter, first part, you can say, because first chapter has two parts. So what does it say? Vimrishyah पक्ष प्रतिपक्षाभ्याम अर्थ अवधारणम निर्णय. Nirnaya, what is a nirnaya? What is a ascertainment or the removal of doubt, or how are you to be very sure, how are you to be very sure? So how do you get to be sure about something? Through vimrishya, whatever is some being examined, whatever is being examined, then that thing we try to talk about it. Huh? We think about it, we ponder about it. Vimrishya, vichar vimarsha is what we say in normal Hindi or normal Sanskrit also. So we do vichar vimarsha about it. We do some kind of thinking, pondering, mananam we say also. We do some pondering over it. So that vimrishya when we do, then what we are doing is paksha pratiksha paksha pratipakshabhyam we are doing. We are doing a analysis, a logical analysis. Huh? So through that logical analysis, we are taking both sides of an argument. We are taking both sides of an argument. So doing this paksha pratipaksha, we go into both sides of an argument, and therefore we are there then able to do reach a conclusion. That conclusion is nirnay, artha avadharanam. That the meaning of this thing that we are examining, that is finally established by us. So we are doing a analysis, and through that analysis we reach the truth, the actual reality about something that we are trying to learn. So in this way we reach a nirnay or a conclusion. So this nirnay helps us to reach for that final position where we are able to uh, reach what we call tattva gyan, the nature of a reality of a single object, right? So in this way we have reached so this is the 41st sutra. So we have completed the first chapter. So the second chapter I think we'll go into in the next class. There is still some time I think, but I'd like to wind up now because we can continue next class with a fresh chapter. So that is about Vadaha, very interesting one. That is one of the most uh, asked about things about Nyaya, how to debate, right? So Vada is basically debate. You have to learn to debate to be able to establish. A lot of times, some fair means are used. A lot of times, some unfair means are also used. So all of those fair means and unfair means we'll learn about. I think Kabir, he once mentioned about those unfair means. So he said there were 24 unfair means, right? So they come under one particular category only, those 24 means. But that is why I don't let the kids to go ahead with the course, because sometimes there are a lot of things that you don't know. You will learn as you go along the way. So if you look at that, then Nigraha Sthana has 24 different subcategories. So those, what are those subcategories? They are the logical fallacies. But actually, as we go along, we will find that they are more than 50 logical fallacies, because Nyaya has a huge range. It has a huge range of logical fallacies that are listed. And so all of these we learn, so that when we debate, whenever we debate about something, we should know how to establish something that we are trying to prove. And we should also know that if someone is trying to fool us, what he's trying to do, and we can name perfectly the fallacy that is committing. We can name the fallacy. So if there is a popular fallacy, we call it chakrapatti. It is circular reasoning. A proves B, B proves A, and so in this way you can go round and round in circles. So we can say you are doing chakrapatti. We don't accept that. So if you can catch him, he will stop instantly, start wondering, oh, what is this chakrapatti? Then when you explain it to him, then he will say, yes, 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 you're right. I think what I'm saying is confusing things up, right? And he will back off. So in this way we can use all these things, right? So any questions about today, anything that we've covered so far, anything you didn't understand or anything you understood but would like to know more about? Any questions, both of you? Manisha, no? George, everything okay? Yeah, I mean, I'll read text again. Okay. Yeah, there were a few things, but I think it's better first to read through the text and then. Yeah, yeah, definitely. You can, yeah, before coming to the class also, you can just look through, so that some things that you've already read through, then you'll be able to understand better in the class. And mostly I'm repeating what the text is only saying, but sometimes I have to add my own examples and some other details. So those you can add on and learn into the class, right? So I think we'll wind up for today and we'll continue into the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम
ॐ
शांति
शान्ति
शांति
शान्ति
शांति।
शान्तिः।
हरि
हरि
ओम
ओम्
श्री परमात्मने
श्रीपरमात्मने
नमः।
नमः। हरि
हरि।
ओम्।
Thank you both of you. Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week ahead. खूब मजे करो. Enjoy yourselves. Take care and I'll see you next week. Bye.